Chapter 1, The Beginning of Dreams and Grief. Growing up in Staple Town, you learn pretty quickly what you're about and what you're not. I wasn't a gangster. I had friends who were deep in that life, sure, but I always told myself that wasn't me. I didn't have it in me to throw my life away like that. I had dreams, big ones. And even though the streets had a way of pulling you into things, I was determined to make something out of myself. Most nights, I'd lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the shop I wanted to open someday. A place where people would come to me to fix things, phones, sneakers, laptops, whatever they needed. It'd be a real business, one I could put my name on and feel proud of. I didn't want to just survive Staple Town, I wanted to thrive here, but life doesn't wait for you to figure things out. It keeps coming at you, fast and unforgiving. The news that changed everything. The day I got the call about my grandmother, it felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. Nana B, the one person who'd always believed in me no matter what, was gone. She'd been my rock growing up, the one who made sure I stayed out of trouble and kept my head on straight when the streets tried to get me off track. The funeral was small, just family and a few of her church friends. As I sat there listening to the preacher talk about how Nana B was in a better place, all I could think about was the last conversation we'd had. She'd told me she was proud of me, that she knew I was going to do something great with my life. I'd laughed it off at the time, but now those words felt heavy, like a promise I wasn't sure I could keep. A week after the funeral, I found out about the life insurance policy. $100,000. That's what she'd left me. When the check arrived, I didn't know what to feel. It was more money than I'd ever seen in my life, but it came with a weight that was hard to carry. Nana B had worked her whole life, barely getting by, and now this money was in my hands. What was I supposed to do with it? Grieving and dreaming. That night, I sat in my room with the check lying on the desk in front of me. My room was small, just a twin bed, a desk covered in wires and tools, and a few posters on the wall. Outside, the sounds of Staple Town drifted through the window, sirens in the distance, music blaring from someone's car, people shouting on the corner. I stared at that check for hours, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to blow it all on something stupid. A new car, designer clothes, a trip out of town, anything to take my mind off how much I missed Nana B. But another part of me, the part she'd always believed in, knew I couldn't waste this. This money was my chance to finally make something out of myself, to turn those dreams into reality. I started making lists in my head. Things I could do with the money. Invest in the shop. Buy better tools. Maybe even move out of Staple Town and start fresh somewhere else. But every time I thought about leaving, I felt this pull, like I couldn't just walk away from everything I knew. Nana B had loved this neighborhood, even with all its flaws, and some part of me did too. I didn't just want to make it out, I wanted to make it here. The weight of choices. The thing about having money is that it doesn't make your problems disappear, it just changes them. Suddenly, I had options I'd never had before, but every option felt like a gamble. What if I invested in the shop and it failed? What if I used the money to help my mom, but it wasn't enough to keep her from working herself to death? What if I tried to do everything and ended up with nothing? As I sat there, the weight of it all pressing down on me, I thought about what Nana B would have said. She would have told me to trust myself, to do what I knew was right. But what was right? Outside my window, I heard laughter. A group of kids was playing on the sidewalk, their voices full of life and energy. I wondered if they'd grow up like me, trying to navigate a world that didn't give you much to work with. Maybe, just maybe, if I played my cards right, I could create something that made their lives a little easier. The first step. By the time the sun started creeping over the horizon, I'd made up my mind. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew one thing, I wasn't going to waste this chance. Nana B had believed in me, and I couldn't let her down. I grabbed my notebook and started sketching out ideas for the shop. I didn't have a location yet or even a solid business plan, but I had the drive. That had to count for something. Before I could get too far, my phone buzzed. It was Shiv. "Yo, Raven," he said when I picked up. I got a job for us. Nothing crazy, just a quick flip. You in? I hesitated. Normally, I would have jumped at the chance to make a little extra cash, but now, with that check sitting on my desk, I wasn't so sure. Let me think about it, I said. Think fast, Shiv replied. This one won't wait. As I hung up, I looked back at the check. $100,000. Enough to change my life if I used it right, or enough to lose everything if I didn't. Where it all begins, I didn't know it then, but that moment was the start of everything. The shop, the hustle, the struggles, the victories, it all began with that choice. Sitting in my bedroom, grieving the loss of the woman who'd been my biggest supporter, I made a promise to myself. I was going to make Nana be proud, whatever it took. I was going to turn that money into something real, something that mattered. The streets outside kept calling, loud and insistent, but I wasn't about to let Stapletown decide my story. Not this time. Stapletown never changes. The streets, the people, the rhythm of life, it all stays the same. Like it's stuck on repeat. But me? I'm different now. Or at least, I feel different. I'm sitting on my bed, staring at this envelope on my dresser. Inside is $100,000, 100 stacks, all mine. I cashed the check yesterday, and the bank teller gave me this look like she knew I didn't belong there. Like I wasn't supposed to have money like that. I didn't care, though. The money is real, and so is this weight sitting on my chest. The room is quiet except for the hum of the old fan in the corner. It's too hot to think straight, but my mind keeps spinning anyway. What am I supposed to do with all this? Invest it? Blow it? Hide it under my mattress? The worst part is I can't tell anybody. Not my boys. Not my mom. Not Dre, even though he's been my best friend since we were kids. If anyone finds out, the whole game changes. Stapletown doesn't care how you got your money, it only cares that you've got it. And money like this? It makes you a target. The neighborhood, from my window, I can see the whole block. The same old corner store with the busted neon sign that says open even when it's not. Miss Loretta is out there, sitting on her porch like she does every morning, waving at folks passing by. A couple of kids are riding bikes, their laughter cutting through the thick summer air, and then there's Shiv, posted up near the bodega with a couple of his boys. Always scheming. Always looking for the next hustle. Shiv's the type of dude you don't trust with your secrets, but you keep close anyway because it's safer that way. He's been trying to get me to run with him for years. You got the brains, Ray, he always says. We could be making real money out here. I'm not trying to live that life, though. I've seen what it does to people, how it chews them up and spits them out. I've got dreams, real dreams, even if they feel far away sometimes. I want out of this cycle. I want to build something that's mine, something that lasts. Grieving in silence, losing Nana B hit me harder than I thought it would. She wasn't just family, she was like my anchor. Always had a way of making the world feel less heavy. You know. Now that she's gone, I feel unmoored, like I'm drifting without a map. She's the reason I even have this money. That life insurance policy, it's like she left me one last chance to get it right. I just wish she was here to tell me what to do with it. Nana always said, make your moves quiet, Ray. The loud ones are the first to fall. I think about that a lot. The plan, I've got ideas, big ones. I want to open up a shop, maybe something like a sneaker spot or a streetwear store. Something that feels like Stapletown but better, you know. A place people can come to and see that there's more to this neighborhood than broken windows and empty promises. But every time I start to dream, reality slaps me in the face. $100,000 sounds like a lot, but when you start adding up rent, supplies, and licenses, it shrinks fast. And then there's the neighborhood itself. Stapletown doesn't make it easy for people to win. You've got to fight for every inch, and even then, it's never enough. The street's calling, my phone buzzes on the nightstand. It's Shiv, probably trying to pull me into something again. I let it ring. I know how the conversation would go, him talking about quick money, me trying to sidestep without pissing him off. Shiv's the kind of dude who doesn't take no for an answer, and I'm not trying to have that argument today. Still, it's hard to ignore the pull. The streets don't wait for you to figure things out, they keep moving, with or without you. And in a place like this, standing still is the same as falling behind. The weight of the money, I keep thinking about that envelope. It's more than just paper, it's a key to something bigger. But it's also a chain, tying me down with all these choices I'm not ready to make. Thank you for listening to the Raven Ball story. Part 2 is coming soon. 26gstore.com